It was 2 a.m. in New York City, the kind of hour where silence felt heavy enough to swallow a manhole. Ethan Cole sat in his glass-walled penthouse, surrounded by the empty trophies of success, million-dollar art, gold cufflinks, a view that stretched across the city skyline. But nothing felt alive. His phone buzzed on the marble counter. Unknown number. Normally, he'd ignore it. But that night, something inside him, perhaps loneliness, perhaps guilt, made him swipe answer. A trembling voice whispered through the speaker, "Please, stop." And in that fragile plea, something in Ethan broke, because it didn't sound like a wrong number. It sounded like a cry he'd been waiting to hear for years. Ethan Cole, a billionaire tech investor, had built his empire on precision. Every decision was calculated. Every emotion suppressed. He had trained himself to function without feeling ever since the accident 2 years ago, the one that took his wife, Claire, and unborn child. Since that day, emotions had become his enemy, and silence his only friend. So when the voice said, "Please stop," Ethan froze. He didn't hang up, he couldn't. "Who is this?" he asked. There was a pause. Then the voice broke again, soft, tired, and trembling. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call. A sob escaped. I just needed it to stop. The pain, the noise, everything." Ethan leaned forward, his chest tightening. "Are you safe? Where are you?" A shaky breath. "I don't know. Somewhere near 5th and Park. My son's sleeping in the car. I just needed someone to listen." And there it was, that strange, magnetic pull of empathy, piercing through the fortress he'd built. Ethan didn't ask why a stranger called him, didn't question how their lives had collided. He just felt something he hadn't in months: purpose. Within 30 minutes, his black SUV pulled up beside an old, rusted sedan parked under a flickering streetlight. Inside sat a young black woman, her eyes hollow from exhaustion, and a small boy asleep in the back seat, clutching a toy car. "Are you the one who called?" Ethan asked gently. She hesitated. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to drag you into this. I thought I was calling the shelter hotline." "It's okay," he said softly. "But maybe this wasn't a mistake." She looked up, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "You don't know me." "No," Ethan replied. "But maybe I was supposed to." For the first time in years, Ethan felt something stir inside him. Not pity, but recognition. The look in her eyes mirrored his own the night he lost everything. Her name was Maya Brooks. She had lost her job 2 months ago, been evicted last week, and tonight, after fighting the cold and hunger, her spirit had cracked. She had whispered, "Please stop," to the universe. And somehow, the universe had answered through him. That night, Ethan didn't return to his penthouse. He stood beside her car until dawn, silently watching the sunrise over the city, realizing that maybe both of them were standing at the edge of something sacred, a chance to feel again. Ethan offered Maya and her son, Isaiah, a place to stay temporarily, just until she got back on her feet. Maya refused at first. Pride was all she had left. But after seeing Isaiah cough in the cold, she agreed. In the warmth of Ethan's home, their worlds collided, luxury and struggle, silence and song. Maya brought life back into the sterile space. She cooked simple meals, laughed softly with Isaiah, and even teased Ethan for never eating anything that wasn't catered. Slowly, the air around him began to shift. One night, Maya noticed a framed photograph hidden behind books, Ethan and Claire, standing under cherry blossoms. She turned to him quietly. She was beautiful. Ethan's voice cracked. She was everything. Maya placed the photo down gently. "You don't have to stop missing her to start living again." He stared at her, the woman who had nothing, yet somehow saw everything. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He wandered to the balcony, and for the first time, let the memories flood back, the laughter, the loss, the guilt of surviving. The next morning, he joined Maya and Isaiah for breakfast. Isaiah grinned, his front tooth missing. "Mr. Cole, Mommy says you're sad, 'cause your heart got hurt. I can fix it. I'm good at fixing toys." Ethan smiled for the first time in years. "Maybe you can help me fix mine too." From then on, the house became a home again, full of small laughter, soft music, and second chances. Maya began working as a teacher at a local community center Ethan secretly helped fund. She refused charity but accepted opportunity. Through her resilience, Ethan found reflection. He realized money couldn't heal grief, but kindness could soften its edges. Every evening, they'd sit on the balcony, watching the city lights. "You know," Maya said one night, "sometimes God lets our paths cross not to fix each other, but to remind us we're still capable of love." And Ethan knew. She wasn't just talking about herself. Months passed. The seasons changed. What began as a mistake had become a new beginning. But healing, Ethan learned, wasn't about forgetting. It was about forgiving yourself for holding on too long. One afternoon, Maya came to him with tears in her eyes. "I got the apartment," she said, holding a key. "Isaiah and I were ready." Ethan's chest ached, but not from loss, from gratitude. "You don't owe me anything," he whispered. Maya smiled softly. "Neither did you. But you answered anyway." The night before she moved out, Ethan found himself standing in the same spot where the call had come months ago. He dialed her number this time. "Maya," he said, "thank you for reminding me that I'm still alive." She chuckled through tears. "And thank you for answering when I said, 'Please stop.' You stopped the pain, Ethan, not just mine." As the line went silent, Ethan looked out at the city lights, now softer, warmer. He finally let go. He could breathe again. The ghosts of his past still lived within him, but they no longer ruled him. He had learned that healing isn't a single moment of relief. It's 1,000 quiet decisions to choose life, hope, and kindness again. And in that realization, Ethan smiled, not as a billionaire, but as a man reborn. Moral of the story: sometimes, healing begins not with the right call, but with the wrong one. When we choose to listen, even to a stranger, we often end up hearing the parts of ourselves that were silent for too long. Compassion doesn't just save others. It awakens the forgotten pieces of our own hearts.